6 bases the following year, and he caught the final out of Game 7 of the 1979 World Series. Here's number 18, Omar Moreno. The Pirates' #1 draft pick in 1973 platooned with Ed Ott to form the best catching tandem in baseball in 1979. And who could forget the day before his 24th birthday, his 4-for-4 performance, 2 doubles, home run, 3 RBIs to help beat the Philadelphia Phillies in a key divisional matchup. He spent parts of 6 seasons with the Pirates. Here's number 16, Steve Nicosia. And the other half of that catching tandem. From the left side, this Muncie, Pennsylvania native had his finest season in 1979, providing solid defense behind the plate and driving in a number of key runs throughout the season, 4 of them with a game-winning grand slam in Philadelphia late that summer. The Otter, number 14, Ed Ott. Known as the Cobra, he began his career in Pittsburgh in 1973 and went on to play parts of 11 seasons as the game's premier right fielder. During a 19-year career, he played an impressive 7 All-Star games and was named the MVP of the Midsummer Classic in 1979. The National League's most valuable player in 1978. He led the league in extra base hits in 1979 and had 2 game-winning RBIs in the National League Championship Series against the Reds and hit .345 in the World Series against the Orioles. Ladies and gentlemen, number 39, Dave Parker. He spent parts of his first 10 seasons in the big leagues with the Pirates, serving as both a starter and a reliever. At the age of 22, in his second big league season, he appeared in 6 postseason games. He saved Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. He was the winning pitcher in both Game 2s in the National League Championship Series and the World Series. One of the best hitting pitchers during his career. He won 3 Silver Slugger Awards and cracked 13 career home runs. Here's number 43, Don Robinson. A pitcher with the Pirates for 8 seasons. This man will always be remembered for his Game 5 series-changing performance with the Buccos down 3-1. He pitched 5 innings of 1-run ball in Game 5 at Three River Stadium to help turn the series around. The Pirates, of course, went on to win the series. He spent parts of 8 seasons pitching for the Buccos and 13 years as a broadcaster. Back in Pittsburgh, number 19, the Rook, Jim Rooker. Another member of both the 71 and 79 World Series teams, known for his charisma off the field and his all-out hustle on it. He was among the Pirates' most popular players during the 70s, a 3-time All-Star. He appeared in 1,037 games at catcher during 12 seasons with the Pirates, second on the all-time Pirates list. In 1979, he was the hero of Game 2 of the World Series in Baltimore, driving in the winning run with a pinch hit single in the 9th inning. Ladies and gentlemen, number 35, Manny Sanguillen. This man had a 12-year playing career, a majority of which was with the Buccos, before he became a Major League coach and served as the Pirates' hitting coach during the 79 season. He spent parts of 9 years as a player with the Buccos, a 2-time All-Star, and a member of the 1960 World Series team. He is also one of only 10 players to ever hit a home run onto or over the right field roof at Forbes Field, and he did it twice. Bob Skinner. Another member of the Pirates' World Championship teams in 1971 and 1979. He spent the first 9 of his 11 years in the majors with the Pirates, established himself as one of the league's finest second basemen, despite battling injuries for much of that 79 season. He was a valuable member of the family and delivered a pinch hit single in his only World Series at bat. He battled teammate Dave Parker for the batting crown before an injury ended his season in the late summer of 1977. And in September of 1975, he established a modern Major League record by going 7 for 7 in a 9-inning game. Number 6, Rennie Stennett. A workhorse out of the bullpen, he baffled hitters with his trademark submarine delivery. He saved 31 regular season games in 1979 and 3 World Series games, including the clinching Game 7. The Pirates record holder for saves in a career with 158 and appearances by a reliever with 722 games pitched with the Buccos. Former Pirates pitcher, current president of the Pirates Alumni Association, and member of the Root Sports broadcast team, the Rubber Band Man, number 27, Teek Kentakobe. How about it for one more round of applause for the We Are Family 1979 World Series champion Pittsburgh Pirates.
Bruce Keeson said earlier the reason the Pirates won because they had a lot of good ball players. That is true, but that team won with heart, and it won with character, and it won with a will and a resolve that they would not lose, and they did not. They were exciting then and just as exciting tonight as the Pirates and Pittsburgh once again honors the last World Championship team from Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates of 1979. On to baseball next, the Buccos and Orioles next on Root Sports.
In 1971, Roberto Clemente led the Pittsburgh Pirates to a World Series championship over the Baltimore Orioles, and in 1979, Willie Stargell did the same against the Birds. However, the Orioles have won the first of the 2-game series. Last night, they pounded the Buccos 9-2, and tonight we end the abbreviated 2-game set. Greg Brown along with Steve Blass. It was all Baltimore last night. The Pirates look to even the score tonight. Steve, they brought the lumber last night, the Birds did.
Boy, they really did. That was not much fun to watch. My suggestion would be to bring the 79 guys down, have a club meeting with the clubhouse meeting with them. Maybe they've got an answer to all this.
Well, there was really no answer for Chris Davis. He is recently back off the disabled list, and the Orioles certainly missed this big bat.
I'll tell you one thing. You talked about home runs, and that's impressive, but these home runs, all 3, 1, 2, and then there's one more. These balls were absolutely crushed, and we don't get a chance to see a lot of Chris Davis, but we saw more than we needed last night.
That's bringing the lumber, brought to you by Yellowwood. 3 home runs for Chris Davis last night, leading the Orioles to a 9-2 victory over the Pirates. So the Bucs look to even this series. Game 2 coming up in just a moment, and the family reunion continues. It's the Pirates and the Baltimore Orioles from PNC Park coming up next. big time tickets for tonight's game. We Are Family reunion. A lot of folks on hand celebrating the 79 Buccos and watching Ike Davis with our Root Sports Field Cam take the field. Pirates first baseman. We'll be checking out the rest of the Pirates defensively in a moment, but first the Honda starting lineup for Buck Showalter's Orioles, and they are 23-20. Same lineup really as last night. Nick Markakis, Manny Machado, Adam Jones, and of course Chris Davis, the 3-homer performance last night. Nelson Cruz will follow, then J.J. Hardy. Jonathan Scope is at second base. Caleb Joseph, and the only difference from last night, the pitcher, Chris Tillman.
And guess who's back? Wandy Rodriguez, who last pitched in a Major League game on April 19th against the Milwaukee Brewers. 4 innings, 4 runs, came away with a no decision.
Yeah, going in before the start last week. Yep. It had been a while.
Okay, I was looking at the rehab stuff after that. Excuse me, my problem.
But 5 innings for Wandy Rodriguez against the Brewers in Milwaukee. A couple of runs on 4 hits. So, you know, I guess Steve looked pretty good in his return, but I would think the Pirates would hope to get more than 5 innings out of him tonight. We'll see. And the first pitch, a strike on Nick Markakis. At times, he looked like the Wandy Rodriguez from the Astros and his first stint with the Bucks for an injury-plagued 2013 season, and really stuttered the start of this year.
And there's the breaking ball right there. And you look for the curveball from Wandy Rodriguez. You look for the break, the sharp break, and the control, just getting it into the strike zone. That's a key for him. He works off the curveball when he's working well. And tonight he has to also work on keeping the ball in the ballpark.
That underscore that note. Keep the ball in the ballpark. These Pirates pitchers have been giving up home runs at too high a pace. They were so good at it last year. Rodriguez has given up 9 home runs this season. And now 2-2.
And a couple of curveballs missing downstairs. If you are going to miss with the curveball, miss downstairs. We saw the ball elevated last night, and that caused a lot of distance off the bat of Chris Davis in particular. Also Nelson Cruz.
And a base hit on the 2-2 pitch, a fastball. And Markakis begins the ball game with a base hit to center. Rodriguez got out in front, and the count got even, and Markakis singles to center. Defensively, Xander McCutchen in center, with Starling Marte in left, and Josh Harrison getting the start again in right field. Pedro Alvarez, Ike Davis on the corners, Jordy Mercer, Neil Walker up the middle, with Tony Sanchez catching Wandy Rodriguez. Last night it was Chris Stewart behind the plate. And before too long it will be Russell Martin. Wouldn't be a surprise to see Martin in the next day or two serve his 1-game suspension and get right out there. You could tell the way Clint Hurdle talks, and certainly the way Martin has talked. He just feels good enough that he doesn't need a rehab. Runner goes, got a great jump, and a stolen base. Markakis is third in 5 attempts.
This is not a Baltimore team that runs a lot. They have a tendency to hit the ball out of the ballpark. But taking the shot, guessing correctly against left-hander Wandy Rodriguez, closer than I thought it was going to be at second base, and the throw on the shortstop side a little bit.
Yeah, really.
Neal coming back and almost getting that tag.
And now a bunt foul by Manny Machado. Tried to surprise Alvarez and the Pirates. And even if they would have miraculously been able to retire him at first, he would have at least moved Markakis to third. Pirates are winless in 3 tries against the Orioles. A 2-game series in Baltimore turned out to be a make-up doubleheader on May the 1st. Baltimore swept the Pirates and winning big last night. Orioles lead the American League East by a half game over the Yankees and Blue Jays.
Up and in. Last night we talked a good bit about moving people off the plate, protecting your pitching room on the outside part of the strike zone.
Steve, that's something Clint Hurdle said again today in his office to the media. He keeps almost harping on it. I think almost to get the attention maybe of his pitchers, even through the media if necessary, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a common theme. We heard that theme a lot last year. about the attempt for Pirate pitchers to pitch inside, protect their pitching run. Also, create some discomfort. Don't let those guys get up there feeling relaxed that the ball's never going to get close to them. When the ball gets close to you, it gets your attention.
Missed inside, not by much, 3-2.
Not much experience for Wandy against Baltimore. Just one start back when he was with the Astros. There aren't too many of those people around that he pitched against, 8 or 9 years ago.
A fly ball that Josh Harrison will catch and try and set up for a throw toward third. Nicely done by Jay Hay. Little experience, but you could see him setting up to get his momentum, get that throw toward third, and make sure that that runner held up.
Well, when you have enough height, you can kind of circle around and get yourself set up to be coming forward, and that's what he did.
And with little experience in the outfield. Textbook by Josh Harrison.
Well, Josh Harrison does not embarrass you anywhere you put him on a major league field. Simple as that. Comes a long way, and then he's moving his body toward where his throw is going to go. That's textbook for a career outfielder.
Markakis had to hold, and now Adam Jones. Machado not able to move Markakis to third.
Boy, you are talking about a tough threesome here. 3, 4, and 5. Adam Jones, Chris Davis, Nelson Cruz. You've got your work cut out for you.
Boy, and Jones, Steve, is hitting .471 against left-handed pitching. That's the best mark in the league, American League. .471 against southpaws. So,
and that's an 88-mile-an-hour fastball that misses. But the problem is it misses upstairs. Well, Wandy doesn't throw hard enough to stay upstairs. Every once in a while you can surprise somebody, but he's going to make his living down around the knees and consistently with that good curveball. He's got to find the curveball as early as he possibly can. Like that. This is when Wandy Rodriguez is at his best. Downstairs, and the breaking ball in a good spot where you can't really do all that much with it unless you're really, really guessing.
And just to let Markakis know that he hasn't completely forgotten about him. Turn towards second. On deck, Chris Davis. Fly ball towards center field and nearing the wall, and just enough room. That will move the runner, but now with 2 outs.
And that was scary in play. That ball just kept going, and Andrew kept giving ground. There's the curveball again, and well done, but Adam Jones is that good. He went down, got underneath that good curve. That was a good curveball. There aren't too many people that are going to get that kind of distance and lift to it. And he almost hits it out of the ballpark. I mean, that almost gets inside your head. Wandy's, I hope he's not thinking, I just threw him a really good breaking ball, and he almost got it out of here.
Now they set up way inside, and in fact, Sanchez set up inside off the plate there, and it was inside off the plate.
You remember last night, the first at bat, they set up inside, got a first, established a first pitch, and then struck him out. I don't remember them coming inside that much after that.
Just got a piece of it. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And I mean, it takes some intestinal fortitude to come inside to him.
Yeah, that's the truth. After the performance he put on last night,
I'm going
to
pitch him inside. He may hit it downtown. I mean, literally downtown.
Line drive. It is hooking foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Where was that pitch, Steve, to Chris Davis? Tried to go in again.
Well, they're setting up in there, and it never got in. That's in a go zone. You got away with something there. Well, you could tell, you could hear the crack of the bat up here. He just got out in front of it.
Roll to the right side. Ike Davis will toss to Wandy Rodriguez, who gets out of it. a single and a stolen base. They had Markakis at second with no one out. Do not score. Of the first inning against Chris Tillman, and the Toyota starting lineup continues with Andrew McCutchen hitting third. Then it's Pedro Alvarez and Starling Marte. Ike Davis hitting .371 since the 6th of this month. Jordy Mercer, Tony Sanchez, Wandy Rodriguez round out the Pirates starting 9.
Chris Tillman, 6'5", 210 pounds, out of Anaheim, California, coming off a real good start overall. 4-2, 3.34 ERA. This is start number 10. He's only been knocked around in one of his first 9 starts. That was several starts ago against the Toronto Blue Jays. He's been pretty consistent. Other than that start, he's pitched well.
Boy, Steve, the Pirates had a chance against him. Second game of that doubleheader on May the 1st. They sent 8 men to the plate. He threw 49 pitches. The Pirates did score 2 runs. He walked 3 in that first inning, but he lasted into the 5th. A no decision. 3 runs in 4 2/3. The game went 10, and the Orioles won it 6-5.
Well, he is durable. Last start, as we said, a shutout over Kansas City, 117 pitches. How can you only score 2 runs when a guy throws 49 pitches?
Yeah, and he walks 3 in the inning. 3 in the inning with 2 hits. 2-0. Chris Tillman, the Anaheim native. 6'5".
See, he's got that kind of little hesitation as he goes back. I was talking to Jim Palmer about him. He said that every once in a while that will get to the point where he's delivering kind of sideways instead of straight on to his catcher, and that can be a little bit of a problem where he'll hook the ball and pull the ball to the outside part of the plate. And primarily fastballs and changeups, with the qualifier that he's got a very good curveball if he can find it and get confidence in it early. It's kind of a secret weapon that he has.
And the Pirates have a little bit of a secret weapon in Josh Harrison. Just continues to battle. He gets on leading off the bottom of the first inning. He's hitting .371 in 9 games from the top of the batting order. 13 hits, 2 walks in his last 35 plate appearances. In his last 20 games, he's hitting .346. That's all for Jay Hay.
Put me in, coach. Every night until things change.
I like your casual comment there. I was talking to Jim Palmer about Chris Tillman.
Hall of Famer, in awe of him.
Of course, you and he locked horns in the '71 World Series, so that would have been fun to be a fly on the wall. That conversation you had with the Orioles right-hander.
Well, you know, the '71 series really didn't come up very much.
I wonder why.
Yeah, actually, I didn't pitch against him. I pitched 2 games against Mike Cuellar, but he was certainly in evidence. Hall of Famer, fabulous career.
And now it's 2-0. Again, we repeat that Tillman walked 3 in the first inning on May the 1st. Pirates had an excellent opportunity to knock him out of the ball game early, and you have to do that with Tillman. We've said before, Steve, with a lot of good pitchers, that can be the case. Early trouble. First 2 innings of his 9 starts, he has a 6.50 ERA. From then on, it's 1.86.
And there's his fastball for a big guy, 6'5", 210 pounds. He tops out around 91, maybe 92. And this is a guy who, on occasions earlier in his life, has touched 95. Not the speed. By the way, 1 free pass in that shutout, that gem last time out against Kansas City. Just 1.
2-1. And a strike.
And that one fastball pretty straight at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, that seems to be a little bit of the frustrating thing. I get the impression of the past week there have been a couple of opportunities where a pitcher isn't overpowering and actually has given the Pirates some fastballs to hit. This ball popped up.
There's probably nobody more frustrated than Pedro Alvarez last night. That 10-pitch at bat and then the fastball right there. Not that you're going to crush it every time, but you know, you walk away from that at bat and you really have a sense you missed an opportunity.
Andrew McCutchen, a couple of hits last night and collected his 20th RBI of the season. He was 1 for 2 plus a walk, a double and 2 runs scored against Tillman back on May the 1st.
Well, there is a little bit of a situation where he could get some help with a slight breeze blowing out to left field, and I just mentioned that because both of these starters have given up the long ball. Tillman has given up 7 as you check out the gentle breeze moving the flags, and that might have been a factor in that ball that Adam Jones hit, carrying it that far out to the warning track in left center.
And that's in there for a strike. A breaking ball, 1-1. And don't expect the Pirates, they could, but don't expect them to try to run against Tillman. No one, in fact, no opposing player has attempted a steal against Tillman this year. Probably because last season, while he was on the mound, the Orioles caught 8 of the 9 trying to steal against him, which is also hard to believe, that big frame, Steve.
That's impressive. It really is. Because, you know, untangling 6'5".
Now 1 ball, 2 strikes on McCutchen.
And there's a good chance he gave his catcher a good opportunity, Matt Wieters, too, because the year before they did steal on him a little bit. I think you said 4 out of 6 or something were successful.
Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. McCutchen continues to walk a bunch. Tillman has allowed 21 free passes on the year in 57 1/3 innings. McCutchen leads the National League, having drawn 35 walks. He's second in on-base percentage behind Troy Tulowitzki. And May is one of McCutchen's favorite months. He's batting .344 this month of May. Historically, it's been a good one for him. Fouls this pitch off.
And he will be pitched tough until the Pirates start getting some more consistent production of the man in back of him.
And if they don't in a hurry, Clint Hurdle probably is contemplating another change in the batting order, and he may get very creative if something doesn't happen in the next couple of ball games. In the air to right. Herring toward the wall, and off the wall. Josh Harrison's going to be waved home, and he is going to score as Andrew McCutchen hits the double off the right field wall with that wide open space on the right side of the infield. You wonder if that's McCutchen's idea.
That ball had a lot of carry on it over the head of Markakis.
He's going with that pitch, Steve. Huh?
Yeah, that's really good hitting, not trying to do anything but hit it the other way. Markakis actually got there but had the glove on the side of the ball, it looked like, and Look at Josh reading it. Bang, that ball's down, and he's gone. That's exactly what you wanted him to do. Get as close as he could to second base. He can go back if it's a miracle catch. Well done.
Now Alvarez. $11 doubles, and now 21 RBIs for McCutchen. Josh Harrison. Let's take a look with the help of the Allegheny Health Network Supermo. There goes the helmet. He is booking around third. Taken for a ball. It's incredible, Steve. The Pirates took the early lead last night in the third inning, and then the Orioles, of course, went on to win it 9-2. The Pirates are now 10-11 when they score first this year. No other team in the major leagues has a losing record in games of that type this season, scoring first. Pirates are 10-11. There's a line drive to center field. That's a base hit. Now McCutchen had to wait as Jones gets the ball in. A line single to center for Pedro Alvarez.
And here once again we're setting up for the Pirates to have an opportunity to put some numbers up there instead of just a 1. Right there for Pedro to reach out. Get that ball right back through the middle. Again, not trying to pull it. Hit that ball hard. Nothing Andrew can do because that ball was hit so hard you don't know how far it's going to carry.
First and third. Alvarez was 1 for 4 last night. He's now 6 out of 15 in 4 games against Baltimore. Here is Starling Marte. Which Marte will we see tonight? It's been Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde recently for the Pirates left fielder.
I think the sun has come out and the Pirates are going to bust open and have themselves a big offensive ball game tonight.
Now you're talking.
These guys have cleared up after a bad forecast that didn't happen.
And it's 0-2 on Starling Marte as he a little jumpy to try and drive in a run. Last night 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Did hit the ball hard his last time up, but right at the second baseman. Oh, 0-2. And the other way, is that going to drop in? It is. 2-0 Pirates all the way into the corner. Leyva going to wave home the big ball. Headed to third is Marte with a triple, and the Pirates take a 3-0 lead.
Boy, was that perfect because the ball's not blistered and just took a lazy little trip down into the right field corner. It took Markakis a while to get over there, and then when he did, he didn't get to it quickly when he was on the warning track. So here's the beginning, slicing it that way, and the minute that ball falls fair, we got a lot of action.
Perfect placement. Alvarez watching the ball and then picking up Nick Leyva, who's got the windmill going. And the triple for Starling Marte. His third this season. And that is tops on the club as McCutchen scores another run. Now Ike Davis wants to try and get that runner home from third as the infield shortens up. Ground ball right side, that'll do it, and then some. Ike Davis makes it 4-0.
And Ike Davis quietly getting the job done. His responsibilities at the plate have been very successful.
This is his 9th Pirate RBI. Came in hitting .263 with the Bucks. Homered last night.
Keep the ball rolling. Pile up a bunch. Clear the air. Let everybody breathe a little bit.
Second baseman Jonathan Scope. A diving attempt. And now Jordy Mercer. Ball out of play off to the right. Well, 25 pitches. Pirates are halfway there against Tillman, who threw 49 pitches in the first inning on May the 1st against Pittsburgh at Camden Yards.
We got double the fun, double the production. We got 4, we got 2 that day. You know, they say hitting is contagious. My point is, when you have these kind of innings, the pitching, the bad pitching is contagious. You know, you're hitting because they're making mistakes most of the time. So, yeah, if you think you're hitting it because everybody's hot, you're hitting some hittable pitches. Goes back to the pitcher. Bad pitches are contagious.
Line foul, it's 1-2.
It's a terrible infection to have when you're out on the mound. The bad pitch flu.
Mercer 1 for 4 last night. So Tillman coming off that shutout Steve talked about against Kansas City, 5-hitter. Strikes out Mercer for the second out of the inning. And we'll bring up Tony Sanchez.
Greg, I kind of thought this is ironic. Our inning starts with a walk. I thought last night, in the big picture of things, when you don't get to the home runs first, that walk that was issued to Nelson Cruz kind of opened the door for a lot of the stuff that was to follow for Baltimore. Tonight, the leadoff walk to Josh Harrison opens the door.
Tony Sanchez. He did not start against the Orioles last night. And he did not play against Chris Tillman back on May the 1st. Chris Stewart caught that night for the Pirates, the second game of that doubleheader. Stewart last night was plunked late in the ball game, and what was an appeared to be obvious retaliation. 2 outs, nobody on in the 9th inning on a 3-0 pitch from Darren O'Day. A couple of Orioles were hit back in Baltimore by Pirates pitchers. 2-1 on Tony Sanchez.
I talked to some Baltimore people who said, well, O'Day hadn't pitched in almost a week and they wanted to get him some work. That's what they said.
Buck got him some work, and then O'Day plunked Chris Stewart right on the back on a 3-0 pitch with 2 outs in a 9-2 ball game. So probably finished. Now I guess settled the score. And now it's 3-1.
We just all rolled our eyes when the pitching change was made in a 9-2 ball game in the 9th inning. Tillman, an all-star last year, 16-game winner. Coming off a shutout, rough first inning. We've seen rough first innings by Pirate starters, so
yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, there's no sympathy.
Ball 4, second walk of the inning.
The Pirates will bat around. And getting to our good hitting pitcher. Wandy's 2 for 7.
Yep. Chris Davis backs off obviously at first base. Ike Davis leads off second, and Tony Sanchez will lead off at first. Wandy Rodriguez at the plate. What if Wandy dropped a bunt down third baseline, Steve?
Easy base hit.
pitch to the shortstop. And he will throw on the first in the dirt for the pick by Chris Davis. 9 men to the plate. The Pirates score 4 runs. Lead early, 4-0.
Bet around in the bottom half of inning number 1, and now we're pleased to be joined by a guy who put up some good offensive numbers himself back for the late 70s Pirates. It's Omar Moreno. Omar here with his beautiful 5-year-old granddaughter Gabriella. Omar, what's it like to see this kind of offense, to see this kind of start with the 2014 Pirates?
Well, first of all, I want to give you the opportunity to say hello to the fans in Pittsburgh. You know, I keep Pittsburgh in the bottom of my heart, so for me to be here is it's an honor to share with those guys here, Dave Parker and Phil Garner, all those guys. You know, I think I learned a lot of things from those guys when I used to play in 1979 World Series.
Omar, what is the experience like when you get back, and what do you guys talk about, and what memories come to mind?
Well, we talk about when I used to play, in 79, when we played with those guys almost for 7-8 years. Then I went to free agent, went to Houston, but I got a lot of things about those guys, because they teach me so many things inside and outside at the game.
When you look back on your time wearing a Pirates uniform, what comes to mind, and why did you appreciate playing baseball in this city?
Well, the opportunity Chuck Turner gave it to me, because the first time when he contributed to Pittsburgh Pirates organization, he gave me the opportunity to be everyday player, so I was so happy. So I said, I told Chuck, thank you for everything. I tried to do my job. I want to try to do my best. And I did it. I learned how to play this game with those guys. I learned my job, try to get in base, try to steal the base, put the pressure to the pitcher.
Now, what do you feel about the 2013 and 2014 Pirates and seeing them turn things around last year? Obviously a slow start this season, but what's it like watching these guys turn it around?
Well, they started kind of slow, but I think they're going to, I got a feeling they're going to be in the playoff, at least in the wild card, because, they got to put a good team, young ball player. I think they can do it.
Omar, thanks for joining us. Great to see you.
Thank you, too.
How about that, Greg?
Well, he's one of my favorites of all time, Robbie. I just love Omar Moreno. Any Pirate fan that watched those clubs in the mid to late 70s, early 80s. There's a drive to left, and Marte will watch this one sail out. A line drive, home run off the bat of Nelson Cruz. It's at 4-1.
That ball was hit so hard it didn't have time to sink. It got over the fence so quickly, over the 383 sign. Dig your heels in. It could be that kind of night tonight.
Nelson Cruz is 14th. He's one back of Jose Abreu of the White Sox for the American League lead in home runs, and now 39 RBIs.
Upstairs again. You cannot work upstairs against this baseball team. Found that out last night. And that was just a line drive. That's a line drive that wasn't too far over the head of Starling Marte, but just kept on going.
10 home runs already allowed by Wandy Rodriguez in this start number 6. He allowed 10 in his total of 12 starts last year. I mean, that's a red flag, Steve. 10 home runs. No matter how you slice it.
This is a bullet. What Jim Tracy used to say, vapor trail on it. And he just can't afford, Wandy doesn't throw hard enough to pitch upstairs. It's got to be downstairs with the curveball and the sinker. And you've got to be a two-pitch pitcher down there. You just can't have one that you can count on.
There's a line drive on the breaking ball into left field. And a double for J.J. Hardy.
And you wonder if that could be an approach. If you're facing a guy who doesn't throw that hard, he doesn't scare you with a fastball, you can sit on the curveball. I mean, and you know, try to adjust up. You can't do that as a lifestyle, as a hitter. Check out the location.
Well, he looked like he was waiting on that one.
Yep. And that might be the approach. Wait till you get a curveball. Let him have a fastball. Let him have it.
J.J. Hardy with 6 hits and a dozen at bats against the Pirates this season. He has always hit the Pirates well. Jonathan Scope was 1 for 4 last night. Strike one on the second baseman.
And Wandy's in a situation now that Liriano was in last night where he's got the bottom of the batting order to work against. Francisco could not get it done, and Wandy needs to get it done.
And honestly, Wandy Rodriguez, it's getting kind of cutting time for him. He's got to get it done. I mean, from a personal standpoint, the Pirates will not wait much longer. It sounds cruel, but they're not going to just keep letting him go out there and get beaten around. They have other options in the minor leagues. They've talked about Brandon Compton and Jeff Locke. Compton pitched very well last night. Clint Hurdle was asked about that in the pregame meeting today about other options if someone would fail to produce consistently. And right now, Wandy Rodriguez, he needs to get it together.
And there's another part of that story too we'll address if we can after this pitch. And that's the fact that people get hung up on the fact that they're going to let him pitch all year because he's making so much money. That is not the case. No. And people got to understand that, because a lot of people feel that way. That's not the case.
He's out there because they think that's just their best option to win ball games.
Right at this point.
Yep.
But that point could change.
Exactly. 2-2. But you look at the body of work before going on the DL, it was not terribly impressive. Now, last start was encouraging. The 5 innings, 2 runs. There's a chopper. And Alvarez decides for some reason not to throw to first.
I don't think he had a play there. We'll get some different looks at this. He's got to make that judgment, and apparently he felt that he didn't have a play at first and looked around at third base.
So it's first and third. And Caleb Joseph at the plate. This is the rookie catcher who walked with the bases loaded last night, forcing in a run. He's 1 for 14. Called up when Matt Wieters was placed on the disabled list.
Scope had the infield hit in that very difficult 4th inning, and they scored a couple runs just prior to the walk to Joseph. It's another infield hit to extend things.
And the infield had double play depth. Obviously, we'll never know if Alvarez would have gotten Scope, but as Steve said, he had to make that choice. He believed he wouldn't get him. But the thing that comes to mind is that there are very few third basemen who make that play coming in on swinging bunts or even bunts with that arm of Pedro Alvarez. But again, he had to make that split-second decision. He thought that his better shot might be getting Hardy. Two-0 count on Caleb Joseph. Jonathan Scope Looks down at third base coach Bobby Dickerson. 3-0 on Caleb Joseph.
And this is going just like it did last night. The infield hit, and then the struggle to not walk the number 8 man.
Three and one.
Comes hopefully the long road back to get him.
Joseph was hitting .261 with 2 homers at AAA Norfolk. 27-year-old rookie from Franklin, Tennessee. And popped them up. Walker goes out. He'll call for it. Out recorded runner. Not able to move from third. And that's the first out, and a big one for Rodriguez.
I'm going to put the word key on that one because now you got the pitcher up. You could actually get out of this situation after the leadoff home run with 1 run. That was the key man to get. Now you get Tillman. You go to the top of the batting order, yeah, but you go up there with 2 outs.
Now they're going to talk things over. We presume that Tillman's going to be asked to bunt Scope to second. The infield meeting.
And if that's the case, don't get squirrely on this bunt.
Yeah.
It still is the second out.
Accept the out at first.
Yeah, take your out. If they cost you 90 feet, take your out. Whenever they give you an out, take it.
2 sacrifice bunts in his career, 0 for 6 at the plate. Getting some of those World Series heroes autographs. Strike one. Showing bunt now. Mike Davis was sprinting in early, and Neil Walker going over to cover first base. The Pirates figuring maybe if he bunts it hard toward Davis, they'd have a shot at second. This is that bunt try, and it's 0-2.
And not looking good missing it.
For the second time this season, the Pirates score at least 4 runs in the first inning. They did it on April the 8th at Wrigley Field against the Cubs, scoring 4. And Wandy Rodriguez wants to make sure the 3-run lead now holds up. He was handed a 4-0 advantage at the start of the second inning. And he gets the bunt down. And Rodriguez throws the ball off the mark, and everybody is safe. Sanchez and Rodriguez converged on the bunt. Nobody called for it. Rodriguez picks it up late, throws it off the mark, and everyone is safe.
I'm sorry, but that's inexcusable.
Yep, no question it's inexcusable.
They're giving you the second out.
Yep.
That's what I was talking about before. Don't get squirrely.
Yep.
Take the out that they're giving you.
Actually, he throws a strike to Walker. He gets an out, but Walker had to leave the bag. See, he still had time, even though he picked it up late, to get an out. Sacrifice E1. And now Nick Markakis. Fly ball to center field. McCutcheon to the warning track. This will be a sacrifice fly. And it makes it 4-2. Hardy scores.
And people are going to say, well, that would have been the third out. Well, you don't know that. You just simply don't know that. Just that that missed opportunity. Breaking ball. They're sitting on the breaking ball now. I mean, it just screams at you.
First and third, 2 outs. The batter now, Manny Machado. And the Rodriguez pitch count up to 41 now. Blocked by Tony Sanchez. Wandy Rodriguez came to the Pirates in a deal with the Houston Astros 2 years ago. The Bucks sent minor league pitchers Rudy Owens and Colton Kane, along with their outfielder Robbie Grossman, a minor league outfielder, and another block. 2-0. Now you do not want to face Adam Jones, who's on deck. Machado is no picnic, but he's only been back since May the 1st, spending the start of the year in the disabled list. And Adam Jones, we told you, crushing left-handed pitching this season. And he gets a strike. Rodriguez, 14-game winner for the Astros in 2009, double digits with Houston next 2 seasons, one of the top lefties in the league. Now 2-2. Last year, first week of June, he'd leave a start against the Braves with tightness in his left forearm, eventually placed on the disabled list. He made some rehab starts in the minor leagues through a simulated game here later in August, but was never able to return and try and help contribute down the stretch. Recently placed on the DL with knee inflammation. And now it's 3-2. Was on the disabled list from April 21st through May the 14th, and made the start the next day in Milwaukee on this previous road trip. A no decision in that 5-inning stint. Count remains 3-2. The Orioles thrilled to have Manny Machado back. Tore up his knee in September of last year, underwent knee surgery, so he started this season, missed the first month on the DL. Another 3-2 pitch, line to right field. Harrison is over. It's over his head. Bangs up against the wall. And just like that, a double makes it 4-3. And Rodriguez is not fooling many people now. A double off the wall and right.
And it's not over. Fastball right there. He's kind of naked right now, because if they are indeed looking for the curveball, just doesn't have enough to keep him honest.
I think that bullpen phone might be ringing soon. Ray Searage out to give Rodriguez what amounts to a basketball timeout. If anybody but Tillman, it's a tie game. Keep that in mind. The pitcher running. Otherwise, it's 4-4. Ray Searage trying to keep it positive here. Here's the pitcher, Chris Tillman. This is foreign territory to him. The American League pitcher.
Yeah, he's naked there.
So, but for Tillman running, this game would be tied, and now Wandy Rodriguez has to go after Adam Jones. Get the last out with runners at second and third. A home run, a Hardy double, an infield single, and after he got the rookie catcher Joseph to pop up, Tillman bunted. It should have been the second out. Instead, it was an error on Rodriguez's part. Then Markakis hit a ball to the warning track in center for a sac fly, and Machado doubles off the wall and right. Jones sent McCutchen back to the wall in center field last inning. One ball and one strike. 8th man to hit. This is the 32nd That was the 32nd pitch thrown this inning by Wandy Rodriguez.
And this continues the trend of Pirates starting rotation miseries.
Two and one. I feel like Wandy Rodriguez is just searching right now. Desperate to try and get this final out. Pirates right-hander Charlie Morton. He will pitch on Friday. Game 2 of the 4-game series against the Washington Nationals, as Rodriguez asks Sanchez to run through the signs again.
There's only so many fingers he can put down. Wandy basically fastball, curveball pitcher.
Two and two on Adam Jones. Two and two. And on his hands. The thing, Steve, I'm noticing too, he's not getting many swings and misses.
No.
I don't know if he's had any, to be honest with you.
No. If they're looking for a breaking ball, they've got time to catch up to the fastball. They can at least get to it and put the bat on the ball.
Facing the American League's toughest hitter against lefties, Adam Jones, second in baseball to Troy Tulowitzki. And there's a ball. And on deck is Chris Davis.
So once again with an opportunity in that bottom part of the batting order, but that error on the bunt play looms large.
Line drive, foul.
And there's the breaking ball again. They're on it. That is such a dangerous area. Middle part of the plate in. With these kind of hitters, that could be a 3-run pitch. It almost brings up the discussion that we have so often. Do they know what's coming? Is he giving anything away?
Well, he walked him, and they're loaded, and this is really getting ugly. And the bullpen phone finally rings as Chris Davis will be stepping to the plate. It's going to be Vin Mazzaro getting ready. After the Pirate offense scored 4 runs in the first inning, it's 4-3. And Chris Davis to the plate. It's a long top of the second. Laborious. Tony Sanchez will go out and talk with him.
What's one of the first commandments when you score a bunch of runs? Put up a 0 in the next half inning. Not only has that not happened, it's still in the soup.
I guess it's pretty obvious that if he doesn't get Chris Davis, he's probably done. So for Wandy Rodriguez's sake and the Pirates, let's hope. Check swing roller, but they may not get anybody. They won't, and it's tied at 4.
Well, there's the ultimate irony, and he can't help but smile. This is a power guy that check swings A ground ball that nobody can get to, and an RBI to keep it rolling. Got a brand new ball game, and it's not looking pretty. Nothing anybody could do with that ball.
Nobody on the left side of that infield. You see Alvarez way back. Only man on the left side of the infield. Check swing, RBI single. Nelson Cruz began the inning with a line drive home run. It's now 4-4. Tillman scoring on that check swing. Machado, Jones, and Davis the runners. And again, Wandy Rodriguez asking to go through the signs again, as this will be the 40th pitch of this inning. And ball one.
You're not seeing too many fastballs right now. You're just trying to do it all with a breaking ball.
Ball two. Two and one on Nelson Cruz.
Boy, was that a green light. Not even talking about 3-0. This whole scenario, and then he gets a 2-0 count. That was scary.
Bouncing ball off the bag. This is going to score two. Can you believe it? Now, most of this inning is all Rodriguez's fault. That one is really bad luck, and that is going to be it for Wandy Rodriguez. It is 6-4 Baltimore.
How about those last two balls that were hit? Check swing by Davis, and then a ball that hits third base. Well, we do need to clean up in aisle 4.
Oh. The check swing RBI single and the double off the third base bag by Nelson Cruz. And Wandy Rodriguez is showered with boos on his way to the dugout. Wow. What an inning. And it's not over yet. Then Mazzaro is going to try and come on and get the final out. Watch this ball hit off the third base bag. Watch Pedro Alvarez expecting the ball. Obviously, and come up about waist high, and
he thought he might get hit in the face.
Look at that look. Can't believe it. (6-4) Baltimore. And a disastrous top of the second. See if Vin Mazzaro can, as Dee said, clean up on aisle 4. J.J. Hardy doubled following the Cruz home run, and it's strike 1 on Hardy.
And this is going to sound very weird, but thank goodness we got the 4 spot.
Yeah.
My goodness.
By the way, Rodriguez ends up giving up just 1 earned run. Again, not to make excuses because most of that was all his doing, but there was some bad luck involved too.
Well, he was also, if you're honest, a little bit involved, because of the error.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's yeah. Most of it's his doing. I mean, no getting around that. 2-2 on Hardy. The count stays 2-2.
Isn't it interesting? You get in these kind of situations. Anytime you hear the crack of the bat, you think something bad's going to happen. You're not thinking positive right now. You're thinking negative.
And the inning ends with a strikeout by Vin Mazzaro.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. And by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks!
Well, back to work after taking a 4-0 lead. Orioles score 6. Top of the second. Now, second time around for the Pirates against Chris Tillman,
who thought he might be on the ropes and out of this ball game.
Ball 1. Harrison walked to start the bottom of the first inning and scored on an Andrew McCutchen double. 2-0.
Now, if you're the manager or pitching coach of the Orioles, Buck Showalter or Wallace, you got to be thinking, wait a minute. you're going out there and you're still not throwing strikes.
First 3 pitches after they just scored 6 for him. 3-0.
Dave Wallace, veteran pitching coach, time of the Dodgers. Buck's, is that Buck pacing? I understand.
3-1. Showalter's Orioles made a nice run a couple of years ago after stringing together 14 losing seasons. They had a breakout 2012 campaign, and it's a leadoff walk.
Third walk, yeah, number 3.
There's Dave Wallace, the Orioles pitching coach. Orioles, as we said last night, right around the middle of the pack in terms of ERA in the American League. And again, Tillman is coming off an outstanding performance, his first career complete game shutout. Ball 1. Neil Walker popped up in the first.
Well, this could be a night where nobody is safe in the bullpen.
Ground ball off the glove of Chris Davis. Walker will head to second. Leyva going to wave home Harrison. Here comes the throw. No, it's bobbled. And it is 6-5. Walker doubles in Harrison from first.
Well, it's official. You got a barn burner. And I think Chris Davis got a piece of it, so that helped slow it down. If he did. Josh Harrison is on the move, and with his speed, Nick Leyva's got everything in front of him, sends him home comfortably. I don't know if he got any glove on that or not. Doesn't matter.
Well, watch Markakis. His throw was high to Scope, so Scope could only go up and try to retrieve it. And Neil Walker picks up his 26th run batted in. Orioles are a strong defensive team. Gold Glovers, Adam Jones, J.J. Hardy, Manny Machado, and Chris Davis and Markakis and even Matt Wieters were finalists for Gold Glove awards last year. It's hammered towards center field, and another hit for McCutchen. And Tillman not really fooling anyone.
No, if we score again, we got to go for 2. I don't think there's any doubt. Nothing's safe tonight.
McCutchen has doubled and singled. Brings up Alvarez. Already 11 runs, a dozen hits, and nobody out in the bottom of the second inning. And here comes Dave Wallace, and there goes that bullpen. Brad Brock starts to loosen.
Well, I don't know how many people there are in this ballpark tonight, but they are being entertained.
Dave Wallace.
I've been in these conversations before, Greg. Part of it is if you want to stick around after we score 6 runs for it, you better start cleaning things up.
MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Pirates.com for details. Infield looks for 2. And they have their shortstop, J.J. Hardy, stationed almost directly behind second. Alvarez had the base hit up the middle in the first. And a base hit to right center field. Ties it at 6. Pirates have had opportunities early, and they are cashing in a big way.
Bader gets the hands in underneath. And it pushes the ball back out to the middle part of the field. Pirates give themselves run number 6. Bottom of the second inning, we got 12 runs on the board.
What are they, 6 for 7 with men in scoring position?
Yeah.
Now the catcher, Joseph, buying time for the bullpen. Andy Rodriguez will not be pinned with a loss. And here comes Showalter, and that will be it. Chris Tillman will not get out of the second inning. He'll go 1+, give up 6 so far, coming off his complete game shutout over the Royals.
Root Sports is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy helps recognize those who, despite their own needs, put others first. By the Chevy Cruise and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
A night for the offense along the banks of the Allegheny. Nobody out on the bottom of the second. It is 6-6.
Did I just hear right? They gave Davis an error on the Walker ball?
I did not hear that.
I'm stunned.
I am too. Wow. Bunt, and a good one by Marte. A throw to first, not in time. One single for Marte, and the bases are loaded.
That was a beautiful thing. All this stuff going on, all this clutter, chaos, and everything. You put the bunt down, and you keep the ball rolling. This is perfect. And you don't have to go down there just at the last second and slash at the ball. You got it out there. He's got the speed. He put it down that nicely.
Just going to say that. He's done that so often. He tries to bunt, but that was just to your point. You've got the time. They're back. Loads them up for the granny man, Ike Davis. He's hit 2 grand slams this season. Once for the Mets, once for the Pirates. And out of play. Bunt single for Marte, loads them up.
What a situation for this young right-hander to step into. Brad Brock just called up recently, 4th appearance. And he has stepped into a cauldron.
Brock parts the last 3 seasons with the Padres. And toward left center field. And that's going to drop in for a hit. Nice little deke there by Nelson Cruz. Because for the time being, he'll hold Alvarez. Alvarez had to make sure. Cruz put the glove up. And it is 7-6 Pittsburgh, and still nobody out. Ike Davis 2 for 2 with 2 ribbies.
And what a story Ike is becoming. nothing not to like about Ike so far, as Pirates just keep it going.
I don't know that deke had anything to do with it, because Alvarez is going to make sure with nobody out. So base is still loaded. Jordy Mercer at the plate. He takes ball 1 from Brad Brock. 7 runs on 8 hits for the Pirates. I mean, for a team that has been inconsistent with runners in scoring position, they're cashing in at every opportunity. One and one, breaking ball.
This is the bottom of the 2nd inning. We've got 13 runs, 15 hits. It's crazy, crazy.
Line foul as Alvarez was thinking that somebody's after him. That ball that hit off the third base bag by Nelson Cruz. He was ducking, and now he's ducking on the bases.
This is a night you not only see a lot of hitting, there's going to be some more strange things happening. This is that kind of night.
95 from Brock. Mercer struck out in the first inning, so he was not part of that party, the 4-run inning. They're looking for a double play ball with the Pirates leading 7-6.
They're looking for a thunderstorm.
And they'll get the double play ball. 6-4-3 DP. Pirates settle for 1 there. No RBI for Mercer as Alvarez scores to make it 8-6.
Jordy is the only one that has not been invited to the party. We've already got 4 Pirates that have a multi-hit game. We're in the bottom of the 2nd.
Closes the book on Tillman. Sanchez bounces it to third. Machado on to first. Pirates send 8 men to the plate. They bounce right back. They've scored 4 in each of the first 2 innings and lead 8-6. Led 4-0. The Orioles scored 6. This ball they called an error. It was hit hard. Now on slow motion, it looks a little easier, but that ball was spanked past Chris Davis. Neil Walker, rather than a double, RBI double, for the time being, I wouldn't be surprised if that changes down the road. two-base error. Ike Davis is 2 for 2 with a couple of ribbies. What real speed now?
Oh, no. I'd like to see a change. I don't know if it will or not.
Jonathan Scope. Infield single and a run scored in the second. Then Mazzaro got the last out of that wild second inning. In the air to right. Harrison back to the warning track, nearing the wall. Makes the catch. Jay Hayes everywhere. And let's go to the World Series suite with one of the World Series heroes, Robbie Inspikowski.
And a guy who was, as a manager, took the Houston Astros to the World Series. It's scrap iron. Phil Gardner. Phil, what do you make of a ball game like this? You manage as long as you did with 3 big league teams. What do you do if you're at Clint Hurdle right now?
The team that has the last at bat's going to win, and fortunately that's us. So this is going to be a good night for the home folks.
Okay, so you're telling me that you probably don't think it's going to be an 8-6 final, right?
Well, it might end up being 14-13, but we get the last bat. We're going to win this one.
All right, Phil. So you manage a lot of teams, and you played on the 79 World Series teams. Having been both a player and a manager, what have you come to appreciate about the 79 World Series team?
Well, we were a rambunctious team. There's no question about it. And I think Chuck Tanner might have been the only guy on the planet that could have handled that ball club. And as you've been seeing all these guys here tonight, boy, we're all headstrong. We have our own way about us. And what I felt I learned from all that is when I started managing, hey, let your players play. Let them do what they're going to do, because really they're the talent. You don't want to get in their way. Stay out of their way and let them play. And so that's what we tried to do.
What qualities and traits really stood out about your teammates that you had in 1979?
Well, I'd say the first and the most endearing trait was never give up. That we felt like we just never was out of a ball game. And somewhere after a month and a half or 2 months in the season, we started winning ball games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, coming back from big deficits. And when we got down in the World Series 3-1, that one trait, never saying die, never giving up, that one trait, thinking that you can always come back, was what prevailed, and that's what made it such a great series.
What was it about playing on the 79 World Series team and the experiences that you had did you take into your big league managing career?
Well, I took that attitude in, and I think Chuck Tanner, who was my mentor both as a player and as going into managing, was stay positive, stay never, it's okay to jump your players once in a while. Everybody knows when you're playing poorly, and you know when you need to be taken to task. But on an individual basis, pat everybody on the back every day. Tell them how good they're doing, and because it's a long season and you need to keep that positive attitude. And Chuck was absolutely the best about it. And, of course, Willie Stargell did a lot to help with that, too.
Great, Phil. Thanks for coming on with us.
You bet.
All right, Greg, you heard it from Phil Gardner. Last team to bat wins tonight, so it's the Pirates, okay?
Scrap iron. Yosemite Sam. Thank you.
The only thing that would be better than that would not having to bat.
That's right. That's exactly right. That would be that would be better. Brock going to bunt the ball. Davis will throw to Walker covering. Phil Garner, who came over from the Oakland A's in March of 1977, a blockbuster deal. Started that 1979 season playing third base, and then they acquired Bill Madlock a couple of months into the season. He moved to second. He had a sensational postseason. First against the Cincinnati Reds. They hit a .417, if I'm not mistaken, in the playoffs, and then hit .500 in the World Series against the Orioles.
You think about that team and that infield completely reconfigured during the course of the season, with people Foley taking over at shortstop, Madlock coming in, Garner moving over, so you had different players at third, short, and second as it wound down. Of course, the guy at first was pretty steady and dependable. He wasn't going to move.
Stargell at first, as they acquired Foley in April of 1979 to play short. Garner from third to second, and then Madlock at third. That ball driven deep to right center field. Back is Harrison. And the chat makes the catch. Oh, then Mazzaro. 0 for Mazzaro. 8-6 Pirates. Saw today, not only was Jason Grilli throwing another simulated game, but Russell Martin, who's been catching a little bit in the bullpen, caught the sim game. Our Allegheny Health Network injury update. Russell Martin has been on the DL with a hamstring injury. He's been taking batting practice. He's doing drills. He says he feels great, and don't be surprised if we see him activated the next couple days. It is doubtful that he will do a rehab assignment, and Jason Grilli said he'll pitch Saturday. He said he's going to be activated on Saturday. The Pirates are getting two big parts of their lineup and pitching staff back. Russell Martin,
good news.
And Jason Grilli coming back in the next couple days. Ben Mazzaro, a rare at bat.
Tell you, this is the kind of night a lot of those 79 guys would like to come down and get back in the batter's box.
Hustling down the line at first. Vin Mazzaro is thrown out by Machado. Hey, shoot us your Bucks fan photo via Twitter. Use the hashtag Bucks fan photo. It's our AT&T fan photo of the day. Show us how you root for the Pirates. We saw some neat memorabilia from the 1979 season last night. Show us how you root for your Buccos, your Pirate pride. Hashtag Bucks fan photo, and we'll show them during our telecast tonight.
You know, you think about the 79 Pirates, and then you see them lined up. Current day, of course, they're not kids anymore. They're not young major league athletes, but that brings it into focus, because you can read all you want, you can talk all you want, but then you see them. Okay, yeah, yep, there's Omar Moreno. Looks like he still could play. Or you see the other guy, and you check out how they've gotten through the years. And,
neat to see them again.
It
brings
really
back
is.
Great memories
when you
too.
see them, it really brings it home.
Think back to the years they were Pirates, and especially that 1979 season, and some of the great moments. And Josh Harrison wearing the number 5 Bill Madlock wore, of course. What a job Bill Madlock did. What a hitter.
Yep.
4 Pirates third baseman, 4 batting titles, 2 with the Pirates. He had as short, quick, compact a swing as anybody ever has had.
I was just thinking about that same thing. And those guys, like a Tony Gwynn, like a Kirby Puckett, they were tight and quick inside. You couldn't get in on their hands very often.
Harrison pops this ball back and out of play.
And that might be the deepest foul ball that would come close to us in the last 13 years.
Certainly in the last couple months, I would think.
All right.
Way, Steve.
Yeah.
Way up here.
I don't touch the telescope.
No. Harrison battling here.
Up under the roof.
Eight, 6. Pirates lead it. Starters out of there early. Harrison will be retired. Foul territory. In case you missed it, the pregame ceremonies there. Great catcher Manny Sanguian, and there's Margaret Stargell, Willie's widow, and there's Skinner, Bob Skinner, Tim Foley, Phil Garner, Grant Jackson, Buster Keeson. There's Mad Dog, and there's the team photo, huh?
Yep.
You see Tony Bartero backstage. How about Al Monchak?
Yep. Great to see Al, first base coach for Chuck Tanner. Back in the day, you could win with that team.
Pretty neat that 71 World Series team, you and your teammate Steve would play on for 2, 3, 4 more years. Some played in both 71 and 79, but kind of handing the baton over. Of course, the Pirates were really the team of the 70s, dominating that decade, beating the Orioles in 7 games in 71 and turning the trick again in 1979.
who better to toss the baton on than Willie Stargell from 71 to 79.
Buster Keeson on your right. Scrap iron Phil Garner.
So Bruce and Willie and Sangy, the carryovers. And they were discussing before Rennie Stennett out on the field. Of course, with the 79 team, it was a kind of a situation in 71 where they were deciding who would be on the World Series roster, and it was Pagan that was chosen because of his experience.
Yep.
Over Rennie Stennett, who was with us for part of the year in 71.
So Rennie was with the team in 1970, not on the World Series team in 71, and then continued to play. And boy, two bad injuries really cost him what I thought was going to be a great career.
That broken ankle that he suffered.
1977. Was right there with Dave Parker for the batting title. Bounced on the right side, and J.J. Hardy will throw out Neil Walker on that shift, and the Pirates go down in order. So a couple of zeros in the third inning.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Angry Orchard Hard Cider. Branch out. By Barrel Automotive. We're driven to be better. And by Levin Furniture, proudly featuring solid wood American-made Amish furniture. For furniture that lasts, shop Levin. Let's go Bucks!
8-6 Pirates lead the Orioles going to the fourth inning. Interleague play here at PNC Park. And some of the wives. World Series suite. Strike one on Manny Machado. And 0-2. Doubled to right in the second, driving in a run. Modest 6-game hitting streak now going for Machado. Machado, the Orioles' first-round pick and third overall in the 2010 draft. This has popped up. And right fielder Harrison. And one out. Special Inside Pirates Baseball celebrate beloved Pirates manager Chuck Tanner, guiding his team to the 1979 World Series. He backed his players with a fervor to succeed. Explore his career and unorthodox managerial style. All new Inside Pirates Baseball tonight after postgame on Root Sports. There's the 79 World Series ring. Al Monchak.
There he is. Good guy, still traveling around. He's not a kid anymore, but Al makes the trips.
Served in World War II. Monchak, and a lot of years in the minor leagues, played a little bit in the majors, and a long-time coach and confidant for Chuck Tanner. In on him, rolled to second, so Mazzaro is going to retire Machado and Adam Jones to start this fourth inning.
That feature on Chuck Tanner, I spent a little time with a good friend of Chuck's Monday at a golf outing, Tito Francona, Terry's dad, out at Beaver Valley Country Club. Joe Walton, the great guy, retired coach now, football coach at Robert Morris. John Banaszak is taking over. We had a great time. Tito Francona is one of those really classy class people, and no surprise that his son follows in those footsteps.
Now a tough matchup here as Davis could not hold up the fastball. He had a check swing RBI single off of Wandy Rodriguez in that 6-run second inning.
Joe Walton, a great baseball fan, so he always wants to talk about the Pirates rather than football. He's really a neat guy. Great turnout for Joe Walton.
1-2 on Davis. Inside, missed with a fastball. 2-2. Davis came out here early yesterday and was working on all kinds of drills and early batting practice, and really felt like he has fixed his swing. Back in sync. 3-2.
Looked like it last night.
4 home runs in his last 15 at bats. He is 11 for 20 lifetime against Pirates pitching with 5 homers.
That's the reason they invented that word slugger.
Quite a pickup by these Baltimore Orioles from the Texas Rangers. A deadline deal 3 years ago as they acquired him and Tommy Hunter for Koji Uehara. And it was interesting to hear the question posed to Clint Hurdle after the game last night about Davis, as Hurdle was the hitting coach in Texas for a year when Davis was there, and he said, well, really, Davis, by being traded, got an opportunity to play every day, and it's a 2-out walk, and sometimes that's what it takes. Regular at bats. 53 home run season last year for Davis.
And sometimes it just takes guys a while to figure it out. You say, oh, you hear that phrase?
Yep.
I got it. I finally got it. Figured it out. And it can be the vaguest of terms too. What did you get? I don't know. I just got it. It just started feeling right. Finally understood it. Or just got it.
Nelson Cruz has homered and doubled. Another block from Tony Sanchez. Mazzaro struck out J.J. Hardy to end the second. Pitched a scoreless third. And now faces Nelson Cruz for the first time. Cruz doubled off the third base bag in the 6-run second.
And in a perfect world, you would like Vin Mazzaro to get through this inning and give Clint one more. That would be a nice script to write to take you into the back end of this ball game, back into this ball game.
Two and one on Cruz, another former Texas Ranger. Now count goes to 3-1.
A red flag count to Nelson Cruz.
getting the ball up as well. Another red flag. Hudson misses the breaking pitch.
And both parties might want that pitch back. That was up, breaking ball, hitting zone. Cruz would like to have another whack at it. Tony would like to throw it differently.
Vin.
Or
3-2. Mazzaro's 4th appearance this season. And he got him. Oh, strikes out Nelson Cruz. And Mazzaro has settled things down. Shots from the Allegheny Health Network Super Mo with Rusted Root as the soundtrack. They'll be in town this week. And 8-6. Pirates lead, go to the bottom of the 4th. Here's Andrew McCutchen. He faces Brad Brock for the first time. McCutchen doubled off of Tillman, driving in a run in the 1st, singled off of Tillman in the 2nd. And has scored a pair.
We haven't scored in like 20 minutes. I don't get this.
It is weird. Two and one.
Could be fans of the 79 team.
Yeah, decked out. Two and two on the Pirates center fielder. He could fit right into that 79 team.
And 71 and 60 and 27.
That's right. Full count.
I'm going to have to ask Jeff Branson a question, Greg. We're seeing more and more right-hand hitters with their elbows almost over the inside corner. I'm surprised that more guys aren't getting hit.
That's funny because that question was posed to Clint Hurdle in the media session before the game about batters being hit, in particular Marte and Walker, although the numbers are down compared to last year in terms of hit by pitches. He said a lot of it has to do with pitchers not pitching inside enough. But that's why more guys aren't being hit.
Well, and the thing is, Andrew's up on the plate, and then he is leaning in. Watch the body come right there. And I guess the approach is they're trying to take that outside pitch away from the pitchers.
Brock gets his first strikeout.
So if you extend those elbows, he's pretty up on top of it.
Now Alvarez. He is 2 for 2, has scored a couple, driven in a run. .92 on the fastball away to Alvarez. Both of Alvarez's hits have been to center field. Always a good sign. Well, look how shallow Cruz is in left. Not going to matter. Scope from shallow right retires him. 2 down. Well, get to the game early on Saturday. The Pirates host the Nationals at 7:15. First 25,000 fans take home a Pedro Alvarez Silver Slugger bobblehead, thanks to Trip Total Media. Plus, everybody's a winner on an Eden Park Scratch and Win Saturday. For tickets, go to Pirates.com. First 25,000 fans will get a Pedro Alvarez Silver Slugger bobblehead this Saturday night. First pitch, 7:15. Might have broken a bat, rolled to third. And so now maybe the eye of the hurricane. All the stuff that started the first 2 innings and zeros now for the next 2.
Talking to some fun characters here from the 1979 World Series championship team. It's Steve Nicosia, one of the catchers on the team. Steve, what does it mean to be back here and just be with the guys, and what are these moments like?
Well, it's so fantastic. First of all, see all the guys and see just what a beautiful stadium and what great support the Pirates have now. It's just a beautiful thing to watch.
Now, Steve, there's a great story that fans remember. There was a game against the Phillies here in Pittsburgh. You were 4 for 4, but yet lifted in a potential at-bat for Tug McGraw for John Milner. Take it from there. What happened?
Well, what happened is I was 4 for 4. I had 5 RBIs against Steve Carlton. The score's 9-9, bases loaded, bottom of the 9th with 2 outs, and they bring Tug McGraw in. Well, I was a right-handed hitter, so you figure Tug McGraw's left-handed, I'm going to hit. The problem was Tug McGraw, his equalizer was a screwball against right-handers, so his forte was getting right-handers out. So Tanner figured he'd go against the green, he'd pinch hit me and bring John Milner in, who was a left-handed hitter. Well, there's about 45,000 Italians in the stands, and everybody booing him. He looks up, His wife's giving him the thumbs down. Babs is booing him along with everybody else. And Milner steps up, first pitch. It's a grand slam in the upper deck. And the rest is history. Everyone's cheering Tanner. He looked like a genius. He looks up, his wife's cheering, thumbs up now. So it was a pretty neat thing.
Now, what did that moment, you talked earlier, what did that moment do for that ball club?
Well, I tell you what, it really lifted our spirits. It was Phillies, who we battled with for years and years. It was our arch rivals, obviously. And just playing against the Phillies was a special thing for us. And that put us, I think, 3 games up at the time in the first week of August. So it gave us a tremendous lift. And from there, we never lost the lead in the NL East.
You know, your battery mate, Ed Ott, hit a grand slam off Tug McGraw a week later. What was that relationship like with Ed?
Eddie and I were great friends. You know, everybody tried to make out, you know, that, well, of course, both of us wanted to play, but he did such a great job catching and handling the pitching staff, and especially for a guy that was an outfielder 3 years earlier than that. So he did a great job and could hit right-handers with anybody. And then, you know, I filled in and batted against the left-handers. A lot of guys, a lot of teams pitch left-handers against us just to equalize Stargell and Parker. So we had the platoon of myself and Bill Robinson in left, and that seemed to equalize some of it. So it was just, Ed and I were really close. We go over hitters, we help each other out, and it was just a great relationship, and we have it to this day.
You know, a lot of laughing, a lot of joking here the last 2 nights. Are all these guys the same in terms of humor and personality and life that they had back in the day?
Well, absolutely, and the stories just getting embellished more and more. It's like a fisherman. The fish story is just getting bigger and bigger, but realistically, people don't realize, they ask me all the time, was, you know, being around there, was that just hype, the whole We Are family? And I said, you know, we really had 25 guys that really just liked each other and fell in love with each other. And we just melded together and became a great ball club. Between Chuck Tanner's leadership and the fact that Stargell kept us loose and kept us going, we just had a special group of guys.
Well, Steve, thanks for joining us. Great stories.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Greg and Steve, a lot of good storytellers, huh?
It's 2 outs here, but what did Steve think about Tanner pinch hitting for him? All the other Italians in the place were thumbs down, including Chuck's wife.
You good?
So, Greg has a question. What all the Italians think?
What did Steve think? When he was pinch hit for?
What did you think about that?
When
well, as far as getting lifted, I was just a young kid. I was a rookie. It was my first year.
Oh, I thought he said something.
You know, they asked me, all the reporters came out and said, oh, you know, were you pissed off? Were you upset with Chuck? And I said, hey, what's a guy like me, what's the chances I'm going to be 5 for 5? I said, I thought it was a great move. So that kind of eased the ice, and that kind of just put Chuck in the right light. So it worked out great for everybody.
Thanks, Steve. Great.
Right. Thank you, Rob. That's what I thought Steve said. It made Chuck look like a genius. I would have pinch hit for me, too. 1, 2, 3. 1979, Pirates won their 6th straight. They beat the Expos 4-2. Bert Blyleven, 8 1/3 innings, 1 earned run, 6 hits. His first win of the year. Willie Stargell, Ed Ott, Omar Moreno with home runs to power the offense. On this date, May 21st, 1979.
You know Bert was upset not getting the complete game.
Oh, you're not kidding, he was.
That was a story in itself with Bert Blyleven and the Pirates.
That became a
big
kind of a bad story, too, the following year. Looks like some of Joe Lynette's children there. Like Davis, a couple of hits, 5 RBIs. Well, the relievers, Brad Brock and Vin Mazzaro, have settled things down. Mazzaro, 3 1/3 hitless innings of relief. And Brock has retired 8 straight. They get 9 in a row.
And while we have a moment, I want to say hello to some really, really good Pirate fans down in Washington County. Mickey Flynn, Ralph Andy, Ron Harpo Chirilla, and Larry Welsh, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse down in Washington County. And of course, Larry Welsh, the voice of reason in that group. Great Pirate fans, and they wanted me to give them a little shout out tonight.
Justin Frampton could not be here. We're going to give him a shout out. Wanted to make it, couldn't. Strike is called. And Mary Beth Beggy threw out the ceremonial first pitch before the game. She has been a real trooper, battling cancer since 2009, and the Beggy's battalion on hand, friends and supporters, family. And what a great attitude, too, Mary Beth. She got up out of that wheelchair and she threw the first pitch from in front of the mound.
Good
big smile.
Good delivery to Chris Stewart. Yep.
She was, I think, offered the baseball as a souvenir, but nope.
But not today.
Chris Stewart bats for Mazzaro. I'm sorry. I thought Chris Stewart was coming to the plate. I thought I heard somebody say Chris Stewart. That's Jordy Mercer.
I'm still ahead of you with mistakes, 4-1.
Down on strikes goes Mercer. And Tony Sanchez to the plate. And Jose Tabata is going to come out should the inning continue, and he would bat for Mazzaro. Make a lot more sense. Well, Brad Brock has gotten on a roll since the Ike Davis RBI single in the second. Tony Sanchez has walked and grounded out.
Big items for both managers to see what both Mazzaro and Brock have done.
Wilson probably will be the new pitcher regardless. Mazzaro's longest outing since he went 5 innings, June 30th of last year against Milwaukee. A 14-inning game. What a job by Vin Mazzaro.
Yeah, I was just trying to write a script for 3 1/3. Who knows? Very tidy work.
Did you write a 3 1/3 hitless innings?
No, I didn't go that
in
far.
Your script?
I did not write that. But,
Cousin Vinny has walked 2 and struck out 3, but not allowed a hit.
We can edit whatever we need to with that kind of work.
Three and 1. Surprising to see Wandy Rodriguez still out on the bench. Don't see that too often.
No, but you like it when you see it.
Yeah. Rough outing for Wandy Rodriguez tonight. 7 hits, 1 2/3, 6 runs, even though 1 is earned and a walk. Tabata does bat for Mazzaro. As Tony Sanchez drew the 2-out walk.
we're kind of having this conversation last night about not only the back end of the bullpen last year, but guys like Mazzaro and Jean-Marc Gomez coming in and keeping ball games alive, giving the Pirates an opportunity to come back late in ball games and maybe scratch out a win here and there. It doesn't happen all the time, but that pen was solid. The first man into a game to the last.
A 3-pitch strikeout for Tabata. Go to the 6th. Pirates up 8-6. Up a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals tomorrow night, and Friday Justin Wilson is showing you what you'll receive if you're one of the first 25,000 fans. Free shirt Friday thanks to Root Sports. That t-shirt. It's also the block party on Federal Street before the game featuring local live music. For tickets, go to pirates.com/free shirt Friday. Here is Justin Wilson. Then Hurdle probably hoping for at least a couple from this flame-throwing lefty, and we saw Justin Wilson pitch a couple of innings recently, and Hurdle said that if the opportunity arises, he will probably get Wilson and Watson some more length.
Number so far for Justin. Just saw that line score up. This is a tale of 2 ball games.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 3 innings have been pitching rich. The first 2 were not.
Wilson pitched one of the games at Yankee Stadium after he pitched 2 innings against the Milwaukee Brewers 6 days ago, striking out 4 batters in 2 spotless innings of work. Now Delman Young, the pinch hitter for Brock.
It's, again, you see those Baltimore Orioles free swinging first pitch, big time swings.
Brock goes 4 innings, gives up 2 hits, 1 a bunt single, no runs, 3 strikeouts and a walk. Both Brock and Mazzaro. Outstanding work. Pop up on the right side. Ike Davis is out. And whoa! Snow cone action.
I had to close my eyes. Is it over?
It's over.
It's an out?
It's over. Watch again.
Assume nothing tonight.
Oh.
Neil Walker almost had to catch Ike Davis and the ball.
Davis makes the play in shallow right. Here's Nick Markakis. Off of Wilson. Ouch. And let's see. Showing absolutely no sign that he is in any pain. Taking that line drive off the body.
Well, get out there anyway and just let him have a chance to get his heart rate back down. On the left, on the throwing arm.
Yeah, looked like maybe just above the elbow.
You see him turn away, but that exposes that pitching arm.
He says he's fine.
That was an amazing camera shot. You saw the ball coming right back through the screen and right at him. I mean, he was the target. He was the bullseye.
There's Manny Machado, 1 for 3, RBI double in the second. He's gone the other way 3 times. First hit that Wilson has given up his last 4 outings. Markakis ends a string. Justin Wilson had retired 12 straight batters. Markakis singles off Wilson's throwing arm, and Machado at the plate. Takes a strike at 96 at the knees. In on Machado, and he fouls it off to the right. 0-2. Justin Wilson opportunity here ahead of the count, 0-2, to get Machado with Adam Jones on deck.
Well, Justin Wilson is a handful when he's got the 96, 97 mile an hour fastball, and then he throws that breaking ball in on the hands. And that is a tough item with your right or left hand batter.
And he strikes him out with a 96 mile per hour fastball. So the fastball, the cutter, the curve available to him, and he strikes him out with that fastball. Just showing him that cutter in. Another look.
Yep, that was the fastball on top of that breaking ball that he fouled off. Yep, good 1-2 punch. You throw so hard, you really have to start to swing early, and if you start it early and it's the cutter, that ball is going to be on your hands. You're addressing your swing to a fastball trajectory.
Adam Jones 0 for 2. He sent a Wandy Rodriguez pitch to the wall in center field in the first, walked in the second inning, and he bounced out against Vin Mazzaro in the fourth. Broken bat. That is not going to be a double play ball. Not going to need the double play. You're going to need 1 out at first base. The broken bat bouncer to short. You just need 1. That's 3 outs.
That's the way it works.
Yes, sir. Oh, they're laughing in the trailer. Oh, wait a minute. We might have a replay.
Told you we're going to see lots of things.
Bang, bang. Showalter out with the first base umpire Angel Campos. And now Showalter turns and looks toward his dugout to see if he's getting the thumbs up, whether he should challenge this or not. And he's going to. Jeff Bannister, meantime, checks in with the Pirates clubhouse and video crew. So he has an idea if this challenge will hold up. That is Jerry Meals, the crew chief. Is this
That's the definitive look.
Oh, that's bang bang.
Not enough evidence to overturn it.
I wouldn't think. Another look. That looks like it's too close to overturn. Those angles.
Both managers can't challenge it, can they? Or can they? Bannister's on the phone.
No, he's just checking in. Bannister says he likes to do that. He likes to check in just to get the idea of what they're seeing, so that he has a real good feel for it. He's talking probably to Kevin Roach in the clubhouse. That is Campos on your left and Jerry Meals on your right. Jerry Meals, of course, will live, I guess, in infamy in Pirates history. Making that call in Atlanta a couple years ago at the plate.
People thinking that changed the whole season around. It doesn't.
No.
It's one baseball game.
The one thing it did do, though, was help lead us to where we are now. Expanded replay. That play at the plate and the Galarraga near no-hitter with Jim Joyce, the first base umpire. 2 outs in the 9th inning in Detroit, calling the batter safe when replay showed it was out. Those 2 calls were big parts of where we are now with expanded replay. And they're checking in with New York at the command center, and we have the out. So see, 4 outs. Out twice, like I said.
Yep.
Not so funny now, is it, Truck?
We can laugh at them.
Yes, sir.
Is no exception, Greg and Steve. This is Don Robinson, one of the best pitchers the Pirates have, and he wore a Pirates uniform for a long time. Don, 1978, you came into the big leagues under Chuck Tanner, won a World Series. Your second year in 79, what was that experience like for you?
Well, you know, the biggest thing for me was that I came up with a bunch of veteran players, and I was only 21 years old. So I got to learn a lot of things and learn how to be a professional. And Willie Stargell, the first thing he told me was, if I could accept the failure part of the game, that I stayed in the big leagues for a long time, which I did. I stayed in the big leagues for 15 years. And plus I had Chuck Tanner, who brought me to the big leagues in 1978. And if it wasn't for Chuck, I don't know when I would have got there. But Chuck protected me, and he taught me, too, that I wasn't allowed to talk to veteran players, you know, until I had 4 years in, and there was a lot of times that, you know, everybody thinks Chuck was a great guy, but let me tell you what, behind closed doors, Chuck put me up against the wall by the throat a bunch of times.
If that happened in today's game. Now, we talk a lot about Chuck and about Willie Starger. What's it like being here, just not having those guys here with you?
Well, you know, these guys I grew up with. All these guys around here right now, you know, besides Willie and Chuck, these guys all taught me how to play, and it's great to see some of these guys. And, you know, it would have been really great if we could see some of the guys that are not here. I mean, Bill Robinson was one of my best friends on the team. There was just a bunch of guys that taught me how to play the game.
Nelson Cruz just made a spectacular catch, robbing Josh Harrison of either an extra base hit or home run. I was looking at you. So you talk about the presence of those guys. When you look back on this team and look back at the time you spent in the Pirates uniform, what comes to mind?
Oh, God. First of all, when they traded me in '87, I was devastated. You know, when Leland and all of them took over, I loved the Pirate organization. I was their pick in 1975, and when they traded me to San Francisco, I was like I said, my parents are from West Virginia, so they could come up and see me pitch all the time, and I hated to leave Pittsburgh.
Well, we're glad you're back in here, and it's great to see you. Thanks for taking a few moments, Don.
Thank you.
All right, Greg, Don Robinson.
All right, thanks to Robbie and Robbie.
Yeah, the kid, they used to call him. He's the kid. Johnny Robinson, so good, such a good hitter as a pitcher. And you know, Chuck Tanner actually had to argue to bring him up as a rookie in 1978. Chuck used to love to tell that story. He said, nobody else wanted me to bring him up. He said, but I knew he was ready in 1978. And he argued the point to bring Donnie up.
You know, even after Chuck retired, was no longer managing, but was in the scouting business. I guess for the Brewers for a while, and maybe Cleveland late. He loved talking about, and then became a Pirate confidant too, with scouting and Neil Huntington. He loved to want to promote the young players, didn't he? In spring training, we talked to him about the makeup of the club, and he said, "I'd bring that guy up. I'd bring Tabata. I'd play him every day."
He had a feel for when he thought young kids could learn at the major league level and were ready, and he wanted them, and he argued fiercely for that. He wanted young players, and he wanted them as soon as he could get them.
He won in '79 with there were a lot of veterans, but with young players like Donnie Robinson. I mean, and he threw Donnie Robinson into the fray in just his second year in the big leagues. He was a big part of not only the season, but especially in that bullpen in the National League Championship Series and the World Series.
And you talk about two guys that can talk. When you got Donnie Robinson and Chuck Tanner, it was like a tennis match on speed.
Yeah, strikeout. Well, Nelson Cruz, not known for his glove work over the years, made an outstanding catch on this Josh Harrison fly ball to the wall.
See him hustling back because all these guys have been playing shallow and took the ball away from the fans.
Maybe leaped just a tad early, but made the play. Remember the play he didn't make off the bat of David Freese in the World Series in right field. That really cost the Rangers that series. They didn't bring Nelson Cruz in for his glove. They brought him in for that bat. 0-1, 2 outs. And there's a drive to left center field. And Cruz is not going to get to that one. Off the top of the wall. McCutchen at second base with a double. And a sheepish Zoltan Z flash.
Andrew's having himself a night.
And now Clint Hurdle maybe going to buy some time and let the.
Oh man,
that's how close.
That hit it on the edge. Another inch, it hits on the top and continues.
And first looked like Hurdle went to Paul Emmel, and then Emmel said, "Go talk to Meals."
I'll tell you, good looking pitch. He went down, got it, lifted it up.
Well, they're not going to challenge it. I think they're going to convene and discuss it. This does not have to be a challenge. Of course, this is pre-expanded replay. They could review it if they want. Not that the manager challenges, but he can convince the umpiring crew to at least review it. So this wouldn't cost Hurdle. As you saw, they're going to review it, but we know that that was not a home run. It shouldn't take all that long.
You can tell it's on the edge because if it's below the edge, it's going to bounce down. So that hit perfectly on that edge. Another inch either way.
How about if the fan had gone over and made a catch? That would have been a tough call. The toughest of calls.
Yep.
So there's an instance where the fans backing off may have cost McCutchen a home run, but they got it right. The double. Jerry Mills was right on it. All confirmed. So those Orioles fans in the front row, they backed away, and fans watching on the big screen. And now Pedro Alvarez. Now, of course, they're all checking it out on their phones. They're stars in Baltimore.
Yep. Well, they're personally reviewing the play.
Alvarez 2 for 3. 2 runs scored. Picked up his 25th RBI in the second inning. Ryan Mattis.
You know, it's just hard to believe this is a close game. I mean, with all the stuff that's been going on, it's a 2-run difference. So nothing really determined yet. You'd have thought with all the offense, somebody would have taken charge, but nobody has taken charge of this game
What
yet.
a wild first couple of innings. One and two. McCutchen inches from his 5th home run. And it's been a while since McCutchen has gone deep. His last homer April 23rd. May 5th last home run for Alvarez.
But Andrew is certainly bumping that average up. Came in at 308, probably up around 315 or so right now.
Two and two.
He's a little conservative. 319. And McCutchen's batting average.
Hopped up. Third baseman Machado makes the catch. 6 innings complete. The Pirates up by a pair. Our AT&T fan photos of the game. Hashtag Bucks fan photo. JP taking a shot of the front page of the sports section. Kenta Colby was on that one. There's the World Series program. Jack Long. And another shot of the sports section from Corey. A team photo, the world champions. Brian Bolton sent that.
Who are those broadcasters on the left?
You know, it looked like Nellie Bryles, Dave Martin, who would come on and replace Milo Hamilton after the '79 season, and of course, Lanny Fratteri. Broadcasters were in the team photos back then, Steve.
How about that?
How about that? What do you think of that?
Well, I'm a little concerned.
I'm not sure what to think.
I'm a little concerned about that. Now, Milo was broadcasting in '79, but that picture was taken obviously the year after.
Looked like it.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, brother, I'm not too happy about that.
I'm not happy either. I wish they'd show me again.
I'm the king of baseball. I've got that cashmere coat.
Holy Toledo. Or when Tim Foley would do something good in '79, Foley Toledo. He was great, though, Milo. I like that, the team of Milo and Lanny. The tough act. They had to follow the gunner. And good luck, right?
Yeah. But it helps to have a championship year.
Yeah, that's true. And Chris Davis.
A lot of people don't remember Nellie Bryles on that broadcast team in '79.
Two and two on Chris Davis. Ryan Morris getting ready. With nobody out. And the other way. And Marte playing him the other way. And he can't make the catch. And it's a fair ball. Davis ends up at second with an opposite field double. They had Marte played perfectly.
Chris Davis had the monster touch last night. He's got the Midas touch tonight. A little infield single, and now a ball that almost got caught. Well, slicing away from Marte, but as you said, he had a shot at it.
Tough when there's such little room there. You got to go into that figure four slide to stop. That's a tough angle.
It almost looked like Starling maybe circled around it a little bit and came back to it. Ball kept slicing.
Right-hander coming on.
presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And here is tonight's Barrel Automotive League leaders stat. Back in 1979, the National League leaders in pitching appearances. Look at that, top 3 Pirates.
94 for Teak.
DeColvey, Romo, and Buck Jackson.
You know what Chuck used to tell him when Teak would say, "What, are you going to use me 100 times?" Chuck said, "Think of how many days off you get."
A double for Chris Davis, and now Brian Morris inherits that runner. 2-run lead, and he faces the dangerous Nelson Cruz, who was 2 for 3 with a homer and a 2-run double.
This 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Mr. Morris. Moving into that hitting zone for Cruz, but that ball riding right in on the handle of the bat. How did that bat not break? I mean, they break if you look at them flying.
Yeah, true. Talking about the bullpen last year, almost unbeatable and unheard of numbers, especially when it came to stranding inherited runners. It seemed like every time they came on with men on base, they would strand them. Morris, for example, allowed only 8 of his 36 inherited runners to score last year. This season, and he has not come in during the inning all that often, he has inherited 6 runners and 4 have scored. Two and one. And into left. A base hit. And they'll hold Davis. First and third, no one out.
That's just too good of a hitter's count for you to deal with Nelson Cruz. 2-1.
Back to the water cooler for Clint Hurdle. 2 on, nobody out.
These are never easy for managers, either manager. Keeping track of your personnel. You have a lot of action early in the game. A lot of decisions to make.
First threat the Orioles have had against Pittsburgh since the 3rd inning, when they had a runner at second base and 2 outs. Hardy doubled off Wandy Rodriguez in the 2nd and scored, and struck out both at bats against Vin Mazzaro. Morris was pretty good at getting the double play ball last year. And a nice block. Sanchez holds Davis at 3rd and Cruz at 1st.
These guys throw that cutter, that breaking ball, so hard. There's so much speed on it. It is a real challenge for catchers to get out there in time, to maneuver their body around in front of the ball. The curve is just as much of a problem with all the spin on it. And that spin can take the ball either way, left or right.
Morris also good at that move. The Pirates have been excellent in picking off runners this season.
Super Mo gives you the show.
Pirates pitchers have picked off 7 base runners this season. 1-1, another throw over.
And part of that is not only the quickness, but it's the accuracy of the throw. You can be just as quick as you want. If it's a high throw, your first baseman cannot get the tag down in time. So you got to be quick and low and accurate.
Fouled it off, and now it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Veteran shortstop J.J. Hardy.
Well, certainly value a strikeout right now. Set yourself up in a position where you could think about a double play.
And a base hit on a 1-2 pitch. Davis scores. It is 8-7.
And still nobody out.
J.J. Hardy's second hit. He just tortures Pirates pitching over the years. That run charged to Wilson. Now you have a rookie, Caleb Joseph, on deck, rookie catcher. Would Buck Showalter still bunt Scope here? Maybe. Try and get the potential tying run to third.
I would think yes. You know, pull out all the stops here. You're deep into your bullpen, but you can you've got to have somebody available on the bench. Alvarez in, Ike Davis in.
Yes, he's squaring early. And he bunts it right to Alvarez. High throw, but Walker able to get it. And that moves 2 men into scoring position with 1 out. And he is going to pull out all the stops. He's going to pinch hit a left-handed batter and the other catcher, Steve Clevenger. A lot of managers don't go to their second catcher, especially early, and this is relatively early. You're talking about using a catcher as a pinch hitter, but that's what he'll do. He bats for Caleb Joseph. Ball 1.
This all belongs to Brian Morris right now. Hard bullpen for the time being. Quiet.
Infield in all the way around with 1 out. Steve Clevenger pinch hitting and will remain in the game to catch. One and one. Clevenger acquired from the Cubs last summer. One and one. Oh, and a block again by Tony Sanchez.
He comes off the fastball. 2 consecutive deliveries. Yeah, just get the body over and hope you get the body block. Now will he come back to the fastball?
And this one bounces well out in front of the plate toward the third base line. But again, Sanchez with a save. And now they're just going to walk him intentionally. That hurt a bit. See Sanchez really buying time.
Yeah, that got up on that left arm above the catcher's glove.
Steve Pearce is on deck. They have 2 left-handed hitters also available to them. Ryan Flaherty and David Lowe. But the former Pirate looks like he is going to get a chance. As Clint Hurdle says, let's just not take any chances, load them up, and see if we can't get a double play ball. This will be an intentional walk. And since leaving the Pirates, his time with Baltimore, Steve Pearce has done his fair share of damage against Pittsburgh. In fact, Steve Pearce was designated for assignment, let go by the Orioles. Ray Searage is going to go out and go over the scouting report. And shortly before the Pirates arrived in Baltimore on the 1st of this month, the Blue Jays actually offered Pearce a contract, but he had a verbal agreement with the Orioles that if he would be patient, they would bring him back not only to the organization, but give him a chance to play again in the big leagues. And there you see the career numbers, and that's exactly what they did. He was 3 for 4 and drove in a pair of runs against the Pirates. First game of that doubleheader on May the 1st, and went 1 for 4 the second game. Steve Pearce pinch hitting with the bases loaded. It's a 1-run game, top of the 7th inning. And ball 1. One and one on Pearce.
You cannot do much with that pitch right there. 95 miles an hour. Looked like it had a little movement downstairs, down and in. Brian gets even in the count.
Pearce in 48 at bats has struck out 16 times. He has not hit into a double play. And another block. 2 and 1.
That might have got up on that arm also. Oh, I hope that got part of the chest protector. That's going to hurt. Tough spot. Brian's got to come into the strike zone here.
Oh, foul ball, and that got Tony Sanchez. He's getting beaten up here in the 7th inning.
You might want to come out and see if he's all right, but he'll wave him off.
Two and 2, 1 out. You'd like a strikeout, but you would love a ground ball. Not face Markakis. Two balls, 2 strikes. A run in. Cruz, Hardy, and Clevenger the runners.
What's your best pitch right now? Not overall. What's your best chance right here tonight? You want it in.
Chopper foul to the left.
And got it in.
Still 2 and 2. Line drive, base hit. 8-8. Harrison will gun toward the plate. Here's the throw. It's strong. Oh my goodness. Josh Harrison. A one-hop strike to nail J.J. Hardy. and keep this game tied at 8.
Fastball upstairs in the zone. Gives Steve Pearce a good look at it. Harrison rushing the play, and that's as good as it gets.
So it's 8-8 for the time being as Josh Harrison throws out Hardy, but Steve Pearce delivers a pinch hit RBI single to score Nelson Cruz, and now Nick Markakis, who has 2 hits and a sacrifice fly in this game. Ball 1. Taking that ball to right field, Steve Pearce. At third, it's Clevenger. Two and 0, and still nobody up in that Pirates bullpen. Makes me wonder anyway about the availability of some of the pitchers. Have to figure. We didn't ask Clint Hurdle before the game, but Jeanmar Gomez went 2 innings yesterday, as did Jarrett Hughes. Two and 1. Tony Watson went 3 innings the other day. He's trying to give him even one more day's rest. Right now it is all Brian Morris. Two and 1 on Markakis. 3 and 1. Watson went 1 1/3 innings, throwing 37 pitches. Season high against the Yankees. 3 and 1, 8-8, 2 outs, and it's ball 4. And now they are loaded, and the bullpen phone will ring.
Another save for Tony Sanchez and back at home plate.
See who is going to get up. Bases loaded, and the batter, Manny Machado. It is Watson. Morris has retired 1 batter thanks to a sacrifice bunt. The other out was recorded at home plate. That was Josh Harrison throwing out Hardy. So Morris really struggling here. And now with the bases loaded and a tie game, it's come down to cases for Morris and the Pirates. The 7th inning. Bases loaded with Orioles. Out in front, 0-2. So bases are loaded with Clevenger, Pearce, and Markakis. 2 runs in, 1 run charged to Wilson. An 0-2 count on Machado. Got him.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Struck him out. Bases left loaded, but 2 runs in, 1 charged to Morris. And it's an 8-8 ball game. A wild one at PNC Park. Pirates and Orioles in this interleague contest Pirates scored 4 in the first. The Orioles scored 6 in the second. The Pirates took the lead with 4 in the bottom of the second, taking an 8-6 lead, and Baltimore picking 2 in the 7th here to tie it.
Home on Root Sports as we sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
More shots from the Allegheny Health Network and the tunes of Rusted Root. And it is 8-8. All the action there in the first couple of innings. Then zeros until the 7th. Now the Pirates, well, if the pattern continues, they'll answer. Steve Clevenger stays in the game to catch. And Ryan Webb takes over for Baltimore. Ryan Mattis pitches a scoreless 6th inning. Gave up a hit and a bunt by Marte, and he gets it past the pitcher. Marte has 2 bunt singles in this game tonight. He is 3 for 4.
That was brilliant. Pushing the ball past the pitcher. Once the pitcher cannot make the play, it's a base hit. 2 perfectos. It's a beautiful thing. Again, he's out early. Maybe that helps him line up what he's trying to do a little bit better by just giving him that extra second or 2 of time to execute his plan, and that's perfect. That's pretty to watch.
2 bunt singles. I'm not sure that he's had 2 bunt singles all year. Great work from Marte, and now Ike Davis. Now will Marte think about trying to swipe a bag? Orioles want to keep him close. Ryan Webb is 6'6". We talked about the starter Chris Tillman, 6'5", and how tough it must be to try and get those legs and arms to work quickly to the plate. Opponents are 2 for 2 this season against Webb in the stolen base department. Davis is 2 for 3 at the plate tonight. All right. Home run on his birthday would be beautiful.
Bunch of kids with a birthday on the same day.
Last year, opponents were 14 of 16 against Webb. And over his careers, we're taking a look at base stealers. He has had a very difficult time keeping opponents from stealing. 0-2 on Davis.
New catcher in there. It's such a crazy game tonight. you might be able to steal a game with a stolen base. You know, all the stuff that's going on. You got a new catcher in there. You got a new pitcher. I'd be a little bit surprised if he didn't go.
0-2 the count. Not going. Taken high.
And really wasn't showing the kind of body language that looked kind of anxious to go on that particular situation. But again, this game, the outlook, the goal, the plan you're trying to do could change pitch by pitch.
There he goes. And it's lined to left field by Davis. Marte into third. An opposite field single for Ike Davis, who has a 3-hit night.
Boy, what a perfect beginning to an inning. A bunt base hit, a perfecta, and then you send your runner and you get a great at bat from your first baseman. You're setting up shop with two really fine at bats, two really excellent at bats. And Cruz takes that on the backhander. They're still running.
Marte picks up the ball and heads to third. Starling Marte with 3 hits, and Ike Davis with 3 hits. 6 of the 11 hits for the Pirates. Now Jordy Mercer is 0 for 3. The middle infield at double play depth.
Seems like Ike Davis is on the base pass all the time.
That was not a suicide. Trying to drop a bunt down. Maybe surprise the Orioles. Mercer has struck out twice and bounced into a 6-4-3 double play.
I don't want 1 run this inning. I want a bunch.
In the air to shallow right. Second baseman out, right fielder in, makes the catch. Markakis. That will not do it. Shallow pop to right by Mercer, 1 away. Well, you certainly want at least 1.
Yeah.
Let alone a bunch.
Yeah, my goal has changed.
Well, that's the smart play. You certainly don't want that ball to drop and Marte not score.
Yeah. Well, you know right away it's not deep enough to do anything about a tag.
Buck Showalter's right-hander Ryan Webb gives up the bunt single in the opposite field. Base hit by Davis, in trouble, but now he can get out of it with a double play ball from Tony Sanchez. Sanchez has walked twice and grounded out. Good work with runners in scoring position for the rookie Pirates catcher. Breaking pitch to start him off. Ryan Webb has a 1.76 ERA over his last 17 appearances since the first week of April. And a base hit to right field for Tony Sanchez.
But boy, if somebody deserves it the way he's been beat up and back to home plate, it's got to make it feel a little bit better. It makes all of us feel a lot better.
Buccos take the lead. Shoots it to right field.
Yep. Hitting that ball where you're supposed to hit it when it's on the outside corner.
Tony Montana. The big RBI single. And the Pirates lead it now. Travis Snyder will bat. Snyder hitting for Brian Morris. First and second, 1 out. Bounce to third. Machado to second for one, and on to first, and a double play. Bucks get one. Head to the 8th. Lead at 9-8. Nine 9-8 Pirates over the Orioles onto the 8th inning here at PNC Park. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Great job tonight by Tony Sanchez behind the plate and delivering key RBI single. Pirates need 6 outs. Will not be easy. Tony Watson will try and get the 3 here in the 8th and get the ball to Mark Melancon. Watson has been stellar again this season.
Boy, is he looking right down the barrel at Jones, Davis, and Cruz.
Adam Jones walked in the first inning against Wandy Rodriguez. Rodriguez lasted 1 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 6 runs. And Vin Mazzaro, 3 1/3 hitless innings of relief. Justin Wilson gave up a run, facing one batter in the 7th, 1+ inning for him, and Brian Morris gave up a run on 3 hits. A couple of strikes on Adam Jones from Tony Watson.
Watson's finest work this year since
I
he's
think
come
so.
up.
He just
thinks there's any doubt.
Yeah. Again, Jones a .474 hitter this season against lefties. Did not miss by all that much.
No.
Jones's reaction made you think, well, it was way inside, but not really.
And that didn't miss by much.
Watson, 1 1/3 innings, a lot of pitches thrown on Sunday, so Clint Hurdle wanted to make sure he got last night off. Pirates had the off day on Monday. And I would be willing to bet, and we'll ask Clint tomorrow, if he would have preferred, all things considered, allowing Watson to have even tonight off, but he is pressed into action here. A 3-2 count on Adam Jones. Lined into the seats.
Tony getting out in front 0-2. Now it's 3-2.
remains 3-2. Adam Jones fouls off another fastball. Well, Watson will have to throw at least an 8th pitch to Adam Jones. Last one, center cut. Where's this one going to be? Another one. Still 3-2.
This is a good battle between two good baseball players.
At some point, does Watson go away from the fastball?
At some point, yep.
Will it be here?
No. Yeah. Not good.
Went away from the fastball there.
Okay. I was looking at live. Now I look up at the board, 86 miles an hour.
Chris Davis on deck. Tenth pitch coming up. Got him.
And stayed away from it.
What a battle. Watson won that matchup.
Boy, that is a pitcher's pitch right there.
Here's Davis. Swing and a miss on the fastball.
Trying to stay downstairs and staying down there. That's a good place to be.
Oh, got him. Got him with a fastball. And Davis is aboard. I'm going to check on Chris Davis. He says, don't even need it. Buck Showalter and one of the trainers just recently off the disabled list. Chris Davis, 53 home runs last year to lead baseball.
Ooh, there's that back elbow.
Ouch. No protective sleeve back there. Here's Cruz. Swings and pops the first pitch up out of play. Cruz is hitting .346 against lefties this year. Tony Watson doing good work against right-handed batters. They're hitting .230 against him. Two on Cruz. Change up and he fouled it off. Cruz coming off that suspension for PED use in the biogenesis investigation. Will turn 34 on July the 1st. He signed a 1-year, $8 million free agent contract with the Orioles that also cost them a first-round pick in this year's draft.
Well, whatever the cost, they got a producer.
He came in with 13 homers. He's got 14 now. And he has driven in 3 on the night, so he has 41 RBIs. And 1-2. Cruz second in the league in homers and RBIs in the American League. A 1-2 count with 1 out. Bucks up by 1. Oh, 97 from Tony Watson strikes him out looking. Cruz not happy with the call.
Of course he's not. Well, a little bit of a argument, perhaps. But Tony gets the call.
And Tony Sanchez thought it was a strike right away. The fist pump. Home plate umpire Chris Conroy. Here's J.J. Hardy. Strike 1. And Hardy checks in with the home plate umpire.
I was just going to say, if the other one was a strike, this one's got to be a strike.
Good work from Tony Sanchez, too. Helping buy those calls.
And you know what? If you're going to get the calls in there, keep doing it.
0-2. Tony Watson has struck out 2. He hit Chris Davis. He's been striking out a bunch lately. Tony Watson. See what the call is from Sanchez. Wants the high heat. Didn't chase.
Why not take a shot up here? Not only striking out 2, but 2 of the tougher outs in the American League.
Fastball in.
One finger fastball. Crowd him.
Ooh, didn't get it. 29 strikeouts in his last 21 innings. Tony Watson. And now the changeup. They get Hardy to chase this. Right to second. Walker. Whoa, to the shortstop, and they get him. The force there, and it's elementary by dear Watson, who puts a 0 up from the bottom of the 8th. Bucks up 9-8.
And there is Willie Dawson. Two-strike pitch, swing and a miss. The game is over. Changeup is hit hard to the left side. Bangs over the wall. Ground rule double. Singleton to the wall, and this ball is gone. The Bucks have gone all the way.
Oh, Keith Jackson and Howard Cosell calling the World Series for ABC along with Don Drysdale.
Well, if the boys out in the 79 suite are still upright, they'd be enjoying the effort that these Bucks are giving them. They were considered a blue-collar group. Current Pirates are playing a blue-collar baseball game.
Here's Josh Harrison. Josh Harrison, he's been all over the place. A couple of walks, his first 2 plate appearances, scoring 2 runs. Last time up, robbed of extra bases by Nelson Cruz. He's played a solid right field. He threw out J.J. Hardy in the 7th inning. Ryan Webb gave up the tying run. Leadoff bunt single by Starling Marte, and Marte scored on the Tony Sanchez base hit. Each club with a dozen runs. Pirates leading 9-8. And popped them up. Easy for Cruz. 1 out, bottom of the 8th. Webb will face Neil Walker, who is now 0 for 4, though we still wonder if they might change the call. It's for a future debate. Walker hit a ball shot past Chris Davis. The official score rolled a 2-base error, so he's 0 for 4 with a run scored.
Questioning of a call from Chris Conroy. You can see why.
And what a job, Steve, by Tony Watson. Oftentimes you can save a game without getting credit for a save by pitching in the 8th inning against the tough hitters, and he did. Adam Jones, Chris Davis, Nelson Cruz, and J.J. Hardy, the meat of the order. Ground ball right side and into the shift. Scope, shallow right. 2 outs. Kids Day this Sunday. Pirates Nationals conclude the 4-game series. Andrew McCutchen showing you the wristband that you'll receive. All kids 14 and under take home Andrew McCutchen NL MVP wristbands. Thanks to Mrs. T's Pierogies. Come early for the #1 Cochran Family Fun Zone on Federal Street, and after the game, kids can run the bases. Presented by Kennywood. For tickets, go to pirates.com.
I really enjoy watching the Pirate players do these promos.
I do too. They're great at it.
Some of them are really comfortable, and some of them are really not comfortable.
Well, McCutchen's a natural.
Oh, yeah. Andrew's good at it.
Tony Watson, he's really good at pitching, isn't he?
Yeah, you remember last year when Clint Hurdle was talking so many times about not being concerned about Melanson closing because he handled the 8th inning against some of the better hitters in the league. Same thing goes for Tony.
He won't get credit for a save, but at least not on the official score sheet, but in that clubhouse, he will.
Get it from Clint Hurdle and his teammates, and especially Ray Surge.
He had to face the 3, 4, 5, and 6 hitters and put up a 0. And a 3-pitch strikeout of McCutchen. So it's Mark the Shark time. 1-run lead. For the 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. The Pirates will send Edinson Volquez tomorrow, then Charlie Morton on Friday. Saturday, that is a Fox game, national game. Garrett Cole on the mound for the Bucks against Steven Strasburg. How about that pitching matchup? Then Liriano pitches on Sunday. You can catch all the action on Saturday, of course, and every night on our Pirates radio network, 93.7 The Fan. So, Trinan, Zimmerman, Strasburg, and Pfister against Volquez, Morton, Cole, and Liriano. And it's Mark Melanson trying to close it out.
We were talking about Ray Searage and how much he would appreciate this total effort. How about a little shout out to another Ray, Mundo, Ray Miller, who was a pitching coach for both the Pirates and the Baltimore Orioles. So hope all is well for Ray Miller and his family.
Yeah, one-time manager too with the Orioles.
Yep.
So here is Mark Melanson, who picked up the save on Sunday, a rare 2-run lead for Melanson. There's a statistic recently we talked about when we were in New York. That, I think it was Brian Cartwright, who writes for the Sabermetric website, that from 2010 to 2014, Major League pitchers entering the 9th inning in save situations had only a 1-run lead 40% of the time. This year, Pirate relievers have had 1-run leads 77% of the time. So no real cushions. Most times in Major League Baseball, you have a 2 or 3-run lead when you're saving games. The vast majority of the time, but not the case this year early on for the Pirates. Melanson once again will nurse this 1-run lead. It's ball 1 on Jonathan Scope.
We play 1-run games all the time. All the time.
Orioles have played a bunch of 1-run games again, too. Orioles had won 7 straight 1-run games going back to April 21st before they dropped a Saturday night decision to the Royals, 1-0. Orioles had 23 of their first 43 games decided by 1 or 2 runs.
John Russell along with Buck.
Former Pirate manager next to Buck Showalter. In the air to right, Josh Harrison. Entire Scope, 1 down. Rob King, Kent Tekulve on the post-game show coming up right after the game. Analysis, reaction from the clubhouse, and more. Melanson will face Steve Clevenger, who pinch hit and was walked intentionally in the 7th inning. Stayed in the game to catch. Ball 1. And what a job by Vin Mazzaro. We talk about Watson not getting a save. Vin Mazzaro, 3 1/3 hitless innings of relief after things had gotten away from Wandy Rodriguez.
Yeah, when you talk about turning points, sometimes it's a specific item. But Mazzaro, I've got to believe that's the turning point of the ball game. Putting up zeros when it was just completely out of control.
Pirates are trying to win, by the way, their 12th 1-run game against 11 losses in 1-run affairs. And now 2 strikes on Clevenger.
Preserving the lead in late innings. Recording the save. We've had, what, 10 saves that have gotten away? 10 leads.
Blown opportunities, yep. Got him. 1 out away.
Breaking ball down and in. Good spot. You hit that ball, probably going to put it in foul territory.
David Lowe will pinch hit. 2 outs. 19,365. Trying to outdo the Oriole fans that are on hand. 0-1 on Lowe.
Nothing like getting entertained at a ball game, especially if the hometown team wins. We're 1 out away from that.
Oh, and 2.
Which that's a little downstairs, but once again the Pirates get the call.
Raise the Jolly Roger. Mark Melancon earns his 7th save, a 1-2-3 quick top of the 9th. The Pirates battle in this ball game, led by Starling Marte and Ike Davis, each with 3 hits. Andrew McCutchen also with 3 hits, and Tony Sanchez, the blocking behind the plate, the calling of the game, and the go-ahead RBI single in the 7th inning.
How many times do we say it? The Pirates will never work this hard for a win. We've said it so many times, but once again, we'll run those words out because it was not easy. It was not easy, but they got it done. They found a way.
They had the early 4-0 lead. Orioles score 6 in the 2nd. Pirates got it right back, led 8-6. Orioles scored twice in the 7th to tie it. And the Tony Sanchez single wins it in the bottom of the 7th inning. An all-around outstanding team effort victory here tonight at PNC Park. Split of the 2-game series. Buccos beat the Birds. Now out to Robin T.
Greg and Steve, thanks. Maybe a little night.